Hello, everybody. Old Buck Dave back again with episode 197 of Two Old Bucks. Tell me who's here with me.
Yeah, I'm here, old Buckdell.
Old Buck Dale.
Yep,
Greetings. Good to talk.
traveling with you.
Traveling with me, huh? Traveling vicariously. Like I said, well, you get to miss the jet lag and that sort of thing. But yeah,
Well, I say that I don't know if our listeners have. I mean, with this technology, they can do something like that with a sibling or offspring or something like that to be able to be talking to the kids in Orlando while they're in Oregon or something.
hmm
But because we are basically the same age, and I'm putzing around here, and you're walking there, and I'm thinking about this whole thing. I'm thinking, man, I only had to walk 300 yards to the supermarket and back, and I'm already overheated. And you're walking around in a strange town. So anyhow,
Uh,
where are you, and how you making out, and what adventures have you been on?
well, I'm in Dresden at the moment. Before we get into the gory details of that, want to mention we got several thumbs up. Is it thumb up, thumbs up, or thumb ups for last week's update on the Ukrainian refugees in France? And so thanks to Annie and Yulia for giving us their time and letting us know what's going on over there. We've got an injured vixen here. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah, I want to send a, special greeting to VV1, uh, Judith, who's often a contributor and certainly a good friend of us. Um, she's experienced some eye problems. As
Detached retina. Yeah. But she says all is good. All is good. She's recuperating.
I wonder how you do that. Is you think just like you have to have a fall or something?
I don't know. I know people
Oh,
that have just happened to them. They're walking down the street and all of a sudden, like somebody pulls a shield
well,
down over their over their eye.
oh boy.
Yeah,
Well, you know how I am about that. As the eyes
the eyes
are,
have it. Huh?
yeah, we've talked about that in the past, and I think Judith has commented on that. So anytime anybody suffers from something to do with the eyes that impairs their vision, my heart really goes out to them. And so all the best to Judith, that she recovers from that, and um, I assume her knee is probably working
Coming
relatively well.
along, coming along. Yeah, she said she's right on schedule, so that's good. So the journey continues.
Mm-hmm.
So we since we talked last, we jumped on a plane in Frankfurt and flew to Prague. It's funny, we got into Prague about 6 p.m. ish, something like that. Got to the hotel. Nice hotel. It's kind of an old school hotel. It's marble floors in the rooms and that sort of thing. It was real nice, real nice. Uh, so I asked the hotel for a restaurant recommendation. He said Czech food, and I said, "Well, we're looking for something light. Is Czech food light?" He says, "Oh no." He says, "It's very heavy." He said, "This is probably the most unhealthy food in Europe." So we
Huh.
skipped the Czech food. We went to there was an Italian restaurant next door that did both northern, southern Italian and a bunch of things. And it was really excellent. So that was great.
So that's something you have to take in consideration, isn't it? You weren't ready for anything heavy. I'm trying to imagine what that would be. It's probably some, like
Well,
a
it's a lot of
pasta.
dumplings and
Oh yeah, pasta
sausages.
dishes.
Czech food
Yeah,
is
there you go.
a lot of sausages, heavy meats, heavy gravies,
Ooh,
goulashes. It's pretty. It's
and
serious
and you
stuff.
you
Yeah.
cannot afford to risk that while you're traveling, can you? Yeah, you can't subject yourself to something that is going to cause you some indigestion or something. Not there. So
Yeah.
anyhow, so you're settled. You find the place that you chose to be adequate, and then what you do? You get up in the morning and open the door and say, "Hello, world."
We you've heard the word over tourism used
Yes.
lately. Well, we experienced it in Prague. In fact, we obviously we contributed to it. Prague was absolutely jammed with people. It was just I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. There were just people swarming everywhere on the main streets, the main streets in the old city, the old
Just
town.
looking around,
Just
just
looking around, going on tours, going into shops. So we did this. I don't know this hop on, hop off bus deal. A lot of cities have it. So we got a 2 day pass for that, so we could jump off and on the bus.
hmm
And they've got several routes that so you could see a lot of things. So it's very convenient. Plus we got a river tour, a 1 hour river tour, which was nice. And so it was very relaxing. The river cruise was great, relaxing, lots of good information. We went up to Prague Castle, which is the largest castle in the world, as it turns out. And it was just inundated with tourists. And we were in the big courtyard, and it was just loaded. And there was a line of people. It must have been a couple blocks long to get inside the castle. We said, I don't think so. So, but right next to the castle, outside the castle, they have these huge gardens. I think they're called the King's Garden or the Queen's Garden, something like that. So we had a nice, relaxing walk in the shade on the hottest day ever, as it turned out. I think the record was broken the next day, but it was fun looking at the different tree species and staying in the shade, and that was nice.
yeah,
Another tour we did was it's called the Underground Tour, where you go visit some basements, believe it or not. Of course, these basements have big stone support pillars. It turns out that the basement that we were in used to be ground level, but
oh,
because of the river was subject to flooding an awful lot, so they built another level up on top of the existing level and called that the ground floor. And then the old ground floor now became the basement. And over 100 years or so, they backfilled it everything, and the whole city. They lifted the whole city up like 15 feet, something like that. That was back from the 12th century is when that happened. Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. So we saw,
from an engineering standpoint, it's
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, yeah. Even up until, just a few years ago, their flood control systems were still not doing the job, but apparently they are now. I think that 2002 was the big flood in Europe, and they showed the water level there and in the different buildings. But they said it's theoretically all fixed now until the next 100 year flood, I guess.
Well, or unless sea, Prague is on the sea, isn't it on the
Prague,
Mediterranean?
it's on the water. No, 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 no. Volta, something like
Oh,
this.
it's on a river. Okay,
So,
but I knew
yeah,
there's some water around there somewhere. Okay.
yeah.
So you saw a castle, and you've seen one castle, you've seen them all.
Well, we actually saw a
And
lot of
that's like
things.
the biggest castle in the world. That's interesting that they preserved that. Apparently, it wasn't destroyed during the war.
No, much of Prague was unscathed. Yeah, yeah. There's
Well, we'll see.
a lot of the old cathedrals and things were spared, as compared to Dresden, where everything
As
was
compared to,
everything was rubble. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah, but
well, that some of that stuff is, I mean, I've seen a few old things like that. Not, I've never been there, but I'm always fascinated with the technology that they had that they was able to do that. I mean, the labor intensive work that goes into building a city like that, and I imagine maintaining it. It's got to be a bear too, with all the
oh
spires.
my, yeah. Just think all these little cobblestone streets weaving in and out everywhere, and they're full of shops, restaurants, and everything that's got to get serviced every day. So it's it's really
Let me ask you a question, Dave. I'm sure some of our old Buck listeners will um, relate to this. When I go to a place that has lots and lots of people traffic, and
hmm
I'll give you a good example. Let's say Busch Gardens.
hmm
You've heard of that. You know what that is. I think most people in
Yeah.
America will probably know what that is. Anyhow, it's a theme park, but they have some statues, some bronze statues, and anything that's in a pathway inevitably gets rubbed. You know what I mean? That someone always touches it, and then the head of the statue or the nose of the deer.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and while you were over there with that many people around, like, did you notice like on the corners of the buildings or the steps or everything's real shiny where people are constantly using the same way? Did you see that? Does it look like
Uh,
the city's being worn down slowly, molecule by molecule?
molecule by molecule, yeah. I mean, certainly the cobblestones are really polished and from all the walking on them.
Okay,
Uh,
that's one good
I
sign.
don't think
Yeah.
anybody was taking any chances touching any monuments. They're all kind of
Oh, okay.
protected, and they're up on big pedestals also, so you
And
can't
you
really.
were you weren't inclined to take your penknife out and screw something on the wall.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, okay.
I'll
Anyhow,
tell you,
that's not our
the
style.
sad thing though is graffiti
Oh,
everywhere. Same thing here in Dresden. It's really a shame. I talked to a local guy about it, and he says, "Yeah, it's everywhere. It's terrible."
you mean paint? Really? Paint
Yeah,
kind of
graffiti.
graffiti?
Yeah, paint. Yeah.
Oh,
He says it's not too bad getting it off of the sidewalks, but the a lot of the buildings are sandstone,
yeah, really, really
and it's
grainy.
really hard to get that stuff off of there without
So,
destroying
so I want to know how you got from Prague to Dresden.
it. Okay. Uh, so our hotel in Prague was only about a 25 minute walk to the train station. So it was nice. We were in the old town. So we checked out, and I thought, well, okay, we've got a lot of cobblestones to carry our roller bags over. I thought, let's just splurge on a cab. All right, so it's not. It was only a couple bucks. It was €10. Uh, so like, okay, and so we get in the cab, and I have Google Maps on my phone to see where we're going. And this driver is zigzagging all over the city, trying to avoid backups, construction. The delivery guys will stop his delivery
Yeah,
van, and you don't go anywhere till he's done unloading the van.
yeah, and
It's just too many people and too many cars on these narrow streets. So, and I'm watching this, and he's just trying everything, and no matter where we go, it's a problem. After 20 minutes, we passed the town square that was a block from our hotel. Okay. So by this time we could have walked to this train station. We were back at the starting point basically.
and you nudged your wife and says, "You recognize that?"
Yeah, I did. And she said, "Oh no." Yeah. So so he plodded on, and now we're 40 minutes into it, okay? And I can see the station over the way there. And I said, "You know what? Just pull over here, let us out. We'll walk the rest of the way." I said, it'll take you another half hour to get that that last distance." He says, "Yes, thank you. Thank you." And a number of people were doing that, as it turns out. A lot of cabs were pulling over because of the construction and everything. You just couldn't get there. So that was an interesting journey that
Did you have to reserve a place on the train?
we did. We did. Yeah, there's a story there too.
Oh, there's a story there too.
Yeah,
Okay.
but before we got on the train, oh, I had some check money left. The guy had given me the driver gave me some change. So he said, "Well, let's buy some water and some snacks at the station here." So I had this 100 koruna note, which is like $5. They refused it, and I said, "What do you mean?" And she kept shaking her head no. Then she pulls out a little pad where it's written in English. Basically said it was counterfeit.
Oh,
Yeah. She showed me where there's supposed to be this little solid metallic line, and it wasn't right. And it's like, okay.
well,
So
who better to give that to but a tourist
somebody
who's
who's not
leaving,
gonna
right?
doesn't isn't gonna have to
Yeah.
use it. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the hoot. But
Oh,
we got on
I'll
the
make a note of
train.
that.
It took us a while to figure out which train car we were in. Everything was kind of, it was a long string of words and letters and numbers. And it's like, okay, we're in car 256. All right, we found the car. And we get in. Okay, so where do we sit? We sat someplace, and somebody else gets gets in that little cabin and says, "Nope, sorry, this is mine." So I saw the number 21. So okay, we must be seat maybe 21 and 22. So we go down to there. There's 6 seats, and a family of 5 comes in, and the guy says, "Well, I'm a family of 5. These are my seats." And then I'm looking and looking, and there's another number. It's like 110. So we're on the same car, but we're on different compartments. So my wife ended up with this family of 5, of Belgian, I believe, and I ended up in a different cabin with 4 young girls who were going somewhere, glued to their noses in their phones the whole time. Anyway, but it was a pretty trip, pretty dry, a pretty train ride. So
How many hours?
it was 2 hours plus there was a delay for construction, so it was about 2.5 hours. So it was a nice ride. It was a nice ride.
And you obviously had a view. You were able to watch the scenery go by and
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of
I
thing.
took a couple pictures out the window, saw some castles. Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty. And then we got to
Huh.
Dresden. Dresden again was an easy walk to the hotel. We have our hotel is in the old city, the old town, which is really not that old. It's probably the world's newest old town. And that's because you know what happened in World War II,
I'm
the
totally
bomb,
aware of that.
the bombing of Dresden, and about 300,000, or excuse me, 30,000 people killed. Yeah, so much of it was leveled. So everything here is rebuilt. Very few original structures, but of course everything is rebuilt in the original form. So it's pretty interesting. But so it's dazzling. It's really a dazzling city. The old town here. It's beautiful. Uh, I climbed to the top of the dome on this big church called the Freuenkirche. It's about I don't know 210 feet high. Lots of steps and ramps and like almost ladders and tiny spirals to get up to the top. But it was
My legs are hurting already.
oh man, it was a beautiful view of the city. You could see the castles down the river, miles down the river. It was nice. It was very nice.
Huh. Lots of castles.
Lots of castles. Yeah. And then we had
I'm surprised they rebuilt them that way. They must have wanted to preserve the original
they preserved the
look of the
original.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really dazzling. Uh, and what did not have the crowds like Prague. I mean, of course it has tourists, but it's, it's a world of difference. It's really, this is, if you want to get away, go somewhere, I'd say go to Dresden. I'd stay away from Prague until September. Uh, but we did a walking tour yesterday, and we had a bit of an incident on the tour. It was kind of interesting.
Uh-huh.
The tour guide, she got a bit testy over some of the questions that were asked, and we stopped at a big mural from the communist era. Of course, this was East Germany.
Oh, it's East Germany.
This was
Oh.
part of East Germany. So there was a big mural on the side of a wall, uh, kind of depicting some, communist history with Marx and
Mm-hmm.
Engels and Lenin and Stalin down in the corner. Uh, and the woman kind of stressed that there was a big a woman featured in the mural, and she said, "Well, one of the good things of communism was they really gave equality to women long before any of the other societies did in that period of time." And somebody asked her, "Well, like what about Stalin?" She says, "Oh yeah, Stalin was a bad guy, but they once he died, they kind of erased him from the record books and put him in the corner and that sort of thing." And she said, maybe communism will come back and be done the right way, that sort of thing. And this was the English speaking tour, so it's got a couple people cranked up a little bit.
I was say a couple of
A
hecklers
couple
appeared.
hecklers, uh, and she started going back and forth with this father and son, and it really got a little bit ugly. I'm not going to beep this out, but I'll tell you what she said. And then when the man said, "Well, in my country, the United States," and she said, "You live in a shit country." Like,
Oh
oh,
boy.
thank
Oh
you.
boy.
Oh,
So
thank
with
you.
the ugly American is starting to creep in, huh?
Well, I don't know who was uglier, her, whether it was this father and son or her, but they were just,
No, but when I was overseas, the thing is when you're not in your home territory, it's a different story. When you're in a place where you become the minority, it's a different story. And you were just picking up a perspective of
mhm,
somebody else.
yeah.
Now, and I've run into that myself. In fact, one of my answers one time was, "Well, I'm not sure what happened there because I was here with you." You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
As my defense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that can happen anytime to any
But
American tourist.
yeah, yeah. But we chose to just walk away from the tour at that point. It was getting to be a bit of a shouting match, and we didn't come here for that. So anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody thinks where he lives is not nice. I mean, let's put it that way. But
Mhm.
you know, uh, like I said, if you're when you're in somebody else's domain, and that's their opinion they express, you have to be prepared for it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so you made a wise move there. That was an interesting
Yeah,
little.
that was the only little negative we had on the whole time. The food's been great.
So
The
you went back to the
people are very
sauerkraut and the
nice.
sausage
We
and
had
some.
we did have some sauerkraut and a little bit of sausage. Yeah. Uh, Also had some quinoa and some healthier things. So it's been good. I did a bike tour today with
No,
a group of 8 of us. I was on the English speaking tour. I was the only native English speaker on the tour. There were 7 other people, and they were 2 Dutch families. So we had a good time.
how
Our
do you organize that, Dave? I mean, do
I didn't
you
organize it. No, it's you just find it. It's all on the internet, man. It's all there.
so in other words, you say I feel like riding a bike, and then they provide you with the equipment and a bike and so on and so
And a
forth, and you get to
guide.
go
And a
and
guide.
a
Yeah.
guide.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We had a guide. It
And
was a
see,
guided tour.
I think that's the neatest way, the absolutely neatest way for someone physically able to see things or do something. To me, every time you do that, I think, man, that is the best way to see the nooks and
It
crannies of a
it is
city.
exactly. It is. You cover so much more territory, and you get
Oh
into
yeah.
these back streets. You get into the nooks and crannies, and the interesting, really funky things. And that's what happened today. It was really really nice. It was really a lot of fun. It
Hmm.
started sprinkling, so we got a little bit wet, but I wouldn't really call it. We didn't get soaked or anything. It was just a little drizzle. But yeah, so that was the bike tour today.
Now, as we record this, not when we broadcast it, but basically when we record this because we're separated by two different continents.
Hmm.
You are in the late afternoon, so you're kind of winding your day down now. You've already you'd be thinking more about late supper or something at this point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. That's right.
Is
That's
there any
correct.
nightlife over there? Is there a nightlife that you
Oh, there's
participate
definitely
in?
there's definitely nightlife. I'm
I
just
mean,
not
do you
partaking of
participate?
it. I'm not
Okay,
participating. Okay. Yeah.
that's that's right, because you can't take those big steins of beer anymore. I mean, I
Oh
can't either.
no,
So I have to pass on
no.
all that stuff, huh?
Yeah. And as I was coming back from the bike tour today, past this beer garden down by the river,
Oh yeah.
and they're all singing, and it was great. It was fun. They're singing. It looked like a couple people were dancing. But
Well, that's I would think that would be something that's tradition.
oh
Then I
yeah,
guess
oh
after
yeah,
5 o'clock or something. I mean,
yeah.
when we grew up, I never quite understood what a beer garden was. I'm going down to the beer garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was just the name of any place that served alcohol, but it turned out it was more, I would say, more cultural that I learned over time. So,
Yeah.
well, you got to see that. You got, and
Got to
no,
see
you're going to stay
that.
there for a couple more days.
Well,
and
we're
then
we're done here. We're heading for Berlin tomorrow. We catch the morning train to Berlin. So that should be another
Wow.
interesting. So we're going to be 4 days in Berlin. Get to see a little bit of the Cold War mysteries and intrigues, I think. So it'll be fun.
So all our listeners, just to, just to, just to picture this, tomorrow, whatever your tomorrow is, old Buck Dave is taking the train to Berlin, and old Buck Dell is taking the laundry to the laundry room.
Hey, I'm doing the
Required but
laundry in the
uneventful.
hotel sink. So
Yeah, you're doing it in the sinks. Anyhow, you've done some trips over the years, and I've always enjoyed them because you send me a picture every now and then, like that picture of the one of a boat that I still have. I use it on my phone as a background picture, but we laugh about these things, and I know my legs probably wouldn't be able to cope with it, but I admire you for your stamina. Carry on there.
we're putting some miles on, that's for sure. We really are.
So, other than that, I'll give you a brief update on my side.
Yeah, talk to me, man.
My quiet little life here. Just fortunately, no doctor's appointments. That's all good. All right.
That's a good thing.
I'll
Yeah.
set some of that stuff up next month. I just took a break from doctor's appointments and other follow-up stuff. And I was doing a little, I was putting in some lighting. I was helping in my community to put some landscape lighting in outside. And I am telling you what, 90, 93, 97-degree temperatures.
Oh,
It's just the old buck just cannot cope too much
ooh-wee.
outside in that.
No
Yeah,
fun.
lose too much water. Not paid.
Yeah.
So I call it quits at about 11 o'clock in the morning, rest up for a while, and wait for the wife to give me instructions on what to start preparing for supper.
There you go. You've got a plan.
Yes,
You've got a
ma'am. No,
schedule.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
So
well,
nothing,
listen.
nothing
Yeah,
live here.
nothing live. Okay.
Mm.
Well, having said that, I think it's time for us to bid each other for farewell for another few days till we
Okay.
talk
We'll do
again
that.
from Berlin, and hopefully
All right.
we'll have some more interesting things talking about there.
Bear with us. Well, enjoy the trip with us, all our listeners out there, our regular listeners. I want to thank everybody that catches us either by chance or intention. It's fun to know that we can entertain a few people while they're working on the treadmill or something. So you folks stay well, and you be careful of the heat on my side. And if you're traveling, be safe out there. And this is old Buck Dell saying, it's been a pleasure. Talk to you next time.
And this is Old Buck Dave coming right after him, saying it's been a fun half hour with you, and we look forward to doing more next week. Send us your cards and letters. We're always looking for feedback. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.